Peace, 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 family. How's everybody doing? I'm recording this on Sunday, September 26th. I actually just finished the weekly astrology, so it's probably going to be a lot of comparisons in here. I do try to keep it new and fresh, the energy, and come up with some new things to discuss, but the weekly energies are always pretty much coinciding with every new and or full moon. So a lot of the times the energy will repeat and it can be kind of repetitive. But hi everybody, my name is Keisha. I am the owner of A Way of Life. I am a career and business coach using astrology. Today I'm coming on here to talk about the new moon in Libra. This is going to be a crazy first 3 weeks here. Not just because of the Mercury energy, but we're also starting a new Mars cycle in the sign of Libra. And so Libra rules the seventh house. This is all relationships, but business partnerships, marriage partnerships, contracts, agreements. This is also like trade or like buying and selling. So like storefronts, your clients and business in some way, shape, or form. Mentorship, law. We could hear a lot of things about law coming out right now. Diplomacy. And it's ruled by Venus. Venus is love, money, and beauty. And then it's mixing and mingling. It's doing a little dance in the sky with Mars. Mars. If you haven't checked out my Mars Retrograde blog that I have on my website, I would definitely go check out that blog and read through it just so that you can see just how much Mars rules, because I'm not even going to touch the surface. But I want to give you a few key words so that you know what we're dealing with here. Mars rules your motivation, your will. It also rules the first house, the sign Aries. So this is ultimately going to be about some things that we're learning about ourselves here. It's the opposition of Libra. It's the opposite of Libra, Mars and Aries. Mars and Libra, or even you can say Mars and Venus are opposite of one another. And so Mars isn't happy in Libra. Now, I did do a live just on Mars and Libra. So if you want to go check out that live as well, just to get freshened up about a lot about what we're going to be touching on in this video, I would definitely go check it out. But violence, guns, weapons, arguments, cuts, burns, bruises. This also rules the medical field because Mars rules over surgeries. So we could be hearing a lot about that. And in social media, on the world stage, something's coming up here. But Mars is usually a pretty tough sign. And Libra also rules justice. So people are going to be fighting for justice here. This is all about relationships. And so we're going to be motivated towards relationships, by relationships. And so what work have we done here? That's going to be the big question. What work have we done on ourselves enough to be in healthy relationships? And I got the feeling where we're at with everything that's going on, and it's eclipse season. I don't know, guys. It's not looking too good. And this isn't just for the next 3 weeks here with this Mercury energy. This is for the next year. This new Mars cycle is for the next year. And so we could be seeing a lot of rioting and violence coming through that. You know, just a lot of things coming up, unpleasurable things coming up. Because people are ready to burst out the streams. They're getting tired of the government putting down all these restrictions, and people want their freedom. All right. So October is going to be a very powerful month, especially the second half of October, which is going to set the stage for the next year. The Libra equinox is really surging with energy. People are having trouble sleeping and headaches. I've been having trouble sleeping, and I've been having major migraines, especially just a little bit of lack of energy. And I have a cousin who got stabbed the other day. So a lot of the times you guys will hear me share some of my personal stories on here so that I can show how the astrology is showing up in real life. Now, I think this was about 2 days ago. I woke up to that message on Facebook, and now everybody's rushing around trying to find out, you know, what happened to her. And because everything is still in retrograde, as you can imagine, we're getting a runaround from everybody. Nobody wants to say anything. So I'm pretty sure that'll come out about mid-October. We'll find out the results of that, but coincidence? I think not. But yeah, man, I just think things are going to get crazy. So the sun and moon are conjunct. The new moon, sorry, the sun is conjunct the new moon. There's a lot of energy with this moon. So you may be ready to move ahead, to begin something, to initiate something, to get something off the ground. You can feel like something has arrived just on time with this energy. But I would say at this time it's just not going to be ready to move. Or if you do, it's still going to be met with some kind of opposition, restriction, even frustration here. So just be mindful of this right now, family. I'm not saying don't say no to anything. I'm just saying just know that we're not ready to move ahead just yet, because all these planets are moving direct this month. And they're outer planets, so they take a lot longer to build that momentum back up to their regular speed. And we still have Mercury retrograde. And Mercury will go direct the same day as Saturn, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is on the 18th, the 22nd. But either way, none of these planets will be to full momentum until about November 3rd. And so just know that whatever you are starting and beginning, it could still come with some fogginess, confusion, etc. And now is more so, again, just about, you know, getting to know yourself more, doing any revising, revisiting old projects. Your time will be best spent that way. And then the sun will conjunct Mars, which rules our motivation, our wants, our will to pursue our goals and achieve them. This can raise our frustration on a lower vibration, anger, and on a higher vibration, this is going to elevate, raise our energy levels, you know. And then we have Libra, which rules decisions, meeting others' needs, meeting other standards, which makes Mars very unhappy because it's in opposition. Mars wants to do for itself. This opposition is always about me versus we. And so, back to what I was saying before, is this is just gonna it's gonna upset you, and this can show up viscerally. So you can have like heat rashes, or you could just be like really hot for some reason. You can feel like really really hot, um, or inflammation. And because Libra rules the kidneys, this can be inflammation in the kidneys. Um, but it can be some kind of health issue that's coming up here. This could also be accidents, aggression, temperament, or pressure, feeling pressured into doing something, but also just feeling pressure to do something, and violence. So just be mindful, family, especially with Venus still in Scorpio. Um, just think things through before you do anything. Take your time. Libra also rules open enemies. So open enemies can come to light at this time, especially on social media or in your social circles or during any social events. So be mindful of that. Um, New moons are a time to plant new seeds and setting new intentions. We may stand up for our rights, stand up for others, but also at the same time not really feeling like we want to because of all the retrogrades. We won't be in full effect to that until about November. So definitely we could see some rioting and people being really crazy during November, especially if they come out with some crazy ass more laws, or with the mandatory shots and all that stuff there. They're pressuring us to do something that perhaps we may not really want to do. Um, and it's putting us in a difficult position. So um, I can see a lot of people reacting to that. But again, things around your social life can come up. Any administrative practices we can hear about that failed in some way, in a major way. Again, legal, political arguments, fear of initiating, so fear of starting something, competition and working hard, but feeling like you're working hard but not getting anywhere. That one really stuck out to me the most, especially with that Neptune energy. I don't know if anybody else has been feeling it, but just being like super lazy. I mean, I can feel mine starting to wear off a little bit, but even as it wears off, I feel like I'm drowsy now. Like I got the headaches and I'm sleeping, like my sleep patterns are messed up. I can't sleep at night. And it's almost as if coming out of one energy and into another. It's never enough time in the day. I'm working, I'm trying to write a book, I'm doing these horoscopes. I'm working on the yearly horoscopes, the eclipse horoscopes, and November all at the same time. So I'm like fluctuating and working in between and like taking breaks and sleeping, taking naps. Like it's been crazy. And I don't often feel this low, but it has really been pulling on my energy over the last month now, really. But so, if you're having these kind of feelings, just know that it's a mixture of all of these energies, really. But we are just at the precipice of ending some old cycles. We want to start new cycles. And then we have to find the resources, the right resources to start these new cycles. But we want to get to the truth of all of that. And that's where Pluto and Capricorn come in. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But that could also be a lot of these legal structures, governmental structures, and institutions just giving us a hard time with things that might kind of get in our way to do what we feel like we need to do. And so it's going to be a struggle, but hang in there, hang in there. Just continue doing small things bit by bit, what you can, where you can, and just know that you're going to ultimately get to your goal. Okay, Libra rules how we interact with others, how we collaborate, and how we disagree with others. With Mars, this could be something that revs us up, shows us what we don't like, shows us what we don't agree with, and what we don't want. And so we're just doing a lot more releasing here. This could trigger some fights, some arguments, or it can be an opportunity to address things that perhaps you've been being passive aggressive with, or to just address some things that you may not have had the time to deal with. You know, it could have been that you was escaping it, escapism with that Neptune energy, finding anything under the sun to do other than what you know is going to get you to this goal. Like the book I was talking about earlier. I promise you, I said I wanted to start doing this book. It might even be a year ago. It could even be 2 years ago at this point, but I made up all the other excuses in the world so that I didn't have to sit down and write this damn book. But now with everything that's going on, I just kept feeling like I was running into roadblocks. Like, nope, 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 nope. You can't do this. You can't do that. Something else came up. Now this is in the way. And so I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being told no. So I'm going to sit down and control the things that I have control over. And I'm going to write this damn book. And so I've been working on that. And it's been fun so far. But again, sharing my personal stories, hoping that you find some truth within, I'm saying, in your life somehow, some way. If these things are happening to you, just know that it's not about anything other than the fact that it's genuinely just not time to move forward. So you do what little bit you can, take it one day at a time, and just let it be. Let it be. This Libra New Moon will provide you the skills to be diplomatic, to negotiate, to problem solving, to negotiate with problem solving skills for the next steps and movement. I actually really liked that energy. Thinking about it out loud, I do kind of feel like, again, some kind of release, like I'm getting to the next step, like I'm moving closer to my goals. I'm even getting more calls and more business, which is something that I've been wanting more of, but I had to let go of something first. And the more I let go of the things that perhaps weren't serving me, the more business came in, the more people I got following me on YouTube, like so many different things started to show up for me the moment I let go. So if you have been doing something, it's not work, and you weren't getting any results, perhaps it's time to change what it was you was doing. And I have been noticing that, and I do feel like, again, I'm getting closer to next steps and some movement. And then we have Mercury Retrograde, which rules the past. So this adds more energy. This adds more energy to an ongoing conversation, ongoing discussion, ongoing negotiations, and revisiting things. This could help with ongoing problem solving, talking things through, especially anything you're working on with others, any partnerships, relationships that, again, you've been avoiding having big conversations. Maybe it's time for the relationship to move to the next level, and you ran into a wall. Nobody's talking, everybody's fighting, and you'll get the opportunity to talk about that now. from an honest perspective and figure out whether you're going to stay or are you really going to break up. And this will help you arrive at some new solutions with others and new understandings. I really, really, really liked that. When I hear stuff like that, it's just reconfirming like the possibility for me to be able to do the things that I've been trying to set up for all this time are finally going to have the opportunity to happen. Okay. So Venus in Scorpio has been moving through fears, working through higher levels of self-love. This is about being vulnerable. If you guys haven't checked out my Venus and Scorpio video, check that out. I really went more in depth in that energy. But what have you learned now that Venus is getting ready to go into Sagittarius? And once it does go into Sagittarius, it's also going to be in shadow phase to go retrograde at the end of November. And so this is a great time to go back to that Venus and Scorpio video, write down anything that resonated with you, and ask yourself, where have you implemented these things in your life? Do you want to implement these things in your life? What's important to you? And are you working through all those issues to be able to elevate to yourself, your deepest, darkest desires? You know, what do you want? And what are you learning about yourself to get what you want? Anything that you have kept secret will come out at this time. This could cause frustration, conflict of interest, and volatile situations, especially, again, on the world stage, because they stay fucking lying. Y'all already know how I feel about this country. And so we also have to remember that Venus rules Taurus as well. And Taurus is the axis in which the nodes are turning into. And Scorpio is the opposite node of Taurus, right? And so things around money could come up with this, investments. We can hear about the new budgets for something that could cause some other issues. I'm almost positive of it. But I think the bottom line is we all know that our values, Taurus also rules our values. Our values are changing crazy, right? We are at the point where Scorpio is about, Pluto is about getting to the truth of the matter. And and with it being in Venus, we're getting down to the truth of Venus ruled things. And so a lot of things could come out this time that are really going to either compel us into whatever it is we need to work on, or confirm that we have been working on these things and we're ready to move to the next level. And depending on where you are and your level of self, your self knowledge of self journey is going to matter, is going to depend on how that looks. Yeah. Okay, and so then we have Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto goes direct the same day as the new moon. This is going to be powerful, family. Pluto destroys and demolishes things. It breaks it down to its smallest element to rebuild it back up, gives it courage to build, and finally it leads us to success. But we need to get rid of something first, just like I was talking about before. Now, Pluto and Capricorn have been tearing shit up since 2020, but really since 2008. And so these are all your governmental structures and systems, the suppressive governmental structures and systems that have been holding us back. Now, this is big, family, because what have we learned from May up until October 6th. You really want to sit back and think about the new, right? What has this time taught you? Because once Pluto goes direct, all those things are going to come up. Whatever you've been working on when it comes to these types of things are going to come up. And for me, what this is telling me about is connecting with yourself, with your deeper self and your journey, right? It's going to show you where you've held back because of other people. And this is teaching us to stop comparing ourselves to others. Stop worrying about what other people are doing in order to get to your truest desire so that you can move into this new energy and build family. It's time to rebuild. We are at the end of this Pluto and Capricorn cycle. And so because this is all happening during Libra season, and Libra is all about relationships, the one thing that I kept thinking about is relationships that no longer serve us are absolutely going to fall. They're going to diminish and fall away on the wayside, and new ones are going to come in. That's the first thing that comes right to my mind. And then you got to do the work, right? So you got to work on yourself and consistently be making sure you're self-caring, checking in with yourself, being honest with yourself. And you also have to take care of those relationships, those new relationships coming in. What do you want to build? What is the goal? Why are these people in your life? What are they helping you build? Are they contributing to you and what you're building? Right? And then you check in on that quite consistently, unapologetically, holding people accountable, and finding a more diplomatic way to have disagreements. Now, I talked about this in a live that I did on my IG page. I'm going to try to find it and post it on here. If I can't, I'll put it on my Patreon page, which unfortunately you'll have to pay for it there, but I don't know. I got to try. Or maybe I can put it on my, if I can download it as a audio file and put it on my, Jesus Christ. Wow, my brain has went blank. Anchor for the what do you call it? Jesus Christ. Wow, you know what, it'll come to me. But I'll try to put it on there, and if I do, I'll send out an email letting everybody know that they can catch that there. But I did a live breaking down how we work together and some tools that we can use. I learned something new myself there within that process, is that having a healthy relationship does not mean compromising, because to compromise is a win-lose situation. And this is something that I think is very important, because we are in this process of change. And we have to begin to understand that even our relationship with these governmental structures and systems have always been about compromise, right? And kind of even it's a little bit deeper than that, because we are all throughout their system, starting with our education. You know, they're teaching us to be consumers. They're not giving us real education to even help us succeed in life anyway, right? And so it goes even bigger than that. But I think the idea is like, it's in the light now. So are you going to continue sending your kids to school? I know it's a big decision. And it's like, what the hell else am I supposed to do? But it's somehow, some way, when you talk about fighting back and getting justice, and even thinking about Mars, if you want to be on the higher vibration of this energy, in order to fight back, the only thing around war is war itself. or rather, the only thing war fears is war itself. Just meaning like war is an art, the art of war has never been about fighting. I talked about this, I think last year when I was talking about Mars and how it was going through its cycle back then. I'd even maybe suggest you go back to those videos last year that I did on Mars. And I talked about how it relates to karate. When you learn how to do karate, you're not learning how to do karate because you're learning how to fight. You're learning discipline, right? And in that Libra energy, you're learning how to be diplomatic and how to have an argument. And so I feel like, in a sense, we don't know how to do that. And I've talked about this in other videos too, so I'm not going to drag this conversation on too much longer, but we're here now. So now we've talked about it, we've talked about it until we're blue in the face. But what are we going to do now? How are we going to implement what we learned into real action steps? So how can we be in relationships where everybody gets what they want? There is a way. We don't have to compromise, right? And so when I hear that we don't have to compromise, I'm saying stop sending our kids to these school systems where they're not teaching our children anyway. If we're worried about the social aspects, then stop finding other parents who are on the same page, who have the same ideas, and who are willing to come together, and you guys become the social element. Take turns with the children. One day of the weeks, one parent takes them to the park, they can get out and get together, spend time at that person's house, and keep repeating that process. Or you can do it online. You become the governmental structures and systems. And so I think, with that being said, we still got a lot more work to do there, but it's something to consider, right? It starts with the education, because when you start to think about businesses and what it takes to build a business, it starts with the children. And if you don't have a strong foundational system practice in place to raise these children in ways where they become your heir, your legacy, to hold what it is you're building, if they can't carry on what you're building, you've automatically ruined and destroyed your financial wealth, right? So we have to stop relying on these governmental structures and systems to help us build things that they are never going to give us in the way that we want them. They are not. These people do not care about us. So we have to stand up and do it. And if you feel like you can't, then change the way you think. Get your vision back, dream again. Remember what it's like. Because ultimately, even though the children are there, until we get to a point where we have that, the people are there. We need each other. We are reflections of one another. We are not going to be able to do this by ourselves. And so this is all about self-love. Go get you some counseling. And it doesn't have to be through these governmental structures and systems. You know how many Black businesses are out there just waiting for us to come to their door, right? And so we have to start using these small businesses and not depending on the governmental structures, because they are not giving us the fulfillment that we need to even elevate. And so there are people out there, trust and believe, family. They are there. They are there. Use those services instead. Don't send your kids to school. Find somebody else who's homeschooling and partner with them. All right, so I went on another tangent as usual. I'm very passionate about these things, but I think the bottom line is stop comparing yourself to white people. That's really what I'm trying to say. They are not the end all be all family. Everything they got, we got. We're just divided. Now we got to bring it together. All right. Saturn trine Saturn will trine this new moon, and Saturn also goes direct. But it's going to start off slow first, right? Because it's got to build up its momentum, which is good for Saturn because Saturn likes working slow. You know, it likes to work slow and then work up to its decision. So something that comes together, it's going to feel like it just flows because of how you partner. You know, what you have changed, you're changing in the way that you're thinking. You're being more vulnerable. That's another thing that Venus and energy represents. You're being vulnerable. You're open up to the possibility of being hurt. That is what Venus and Pluto is all about. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing or that you should be okay with that, but in order to be in a relationship, we have to be open to that. But if we do the work, we don't have to be hurt. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that way as so long as we're doing the work. But when we are open, what we're saying is we're willing to do the work, even if it hurts. Okay. All right. So wherever we're changing, or whatever values, beliefs, our world views that are changing, that Pluto, that Saturn trine the new moon, we're going to start to get some really positive feedback from that to help us continue on our journey and what it is we're trying to build. And then, how are you partnering with your spirit or your intuition? Because Libras enjoy doing things with others, but ultimately this is reminding us that we're not alone, right? So it's also more so about that deep inner work, always and forever, whenever we're talking about Pluto, but just in retrograde season alone, it's always about that deep inner work. So don't forget that. You always want to make sure you find time for yourself. And we're going to intuitively learn that and own it and hold ourselves accountable, right? All right. And then last but not least, we have Chiron. You are going to get out of your head, developing courage to do things your own way, giving us strength, and remind us that we are capable. That's a beautiful way to end with that Chiron energy. We're also wrapping up a cycle with Chiron and Aries as well, which is that warrior energy and healing, so that we can all get to a point where we can heal each other through our knowledge and skills and doing what we absolutely love to do. So getting yourself together enough so that you can partner and connect with others, and then working on the financial piece. I feel like those are the big goals. And without those, this stuff really doesn't work, you know? So we have to get healthy enough to go through these challenges, because it's going to be a challenge. We absolutely have to be open to the fact that this is not going to be easy. But don't let that, be what determines whether we keep going or not. In this process comes some bad times. And that's where the support comes in, through the relationships that you build and the people that you choose to have in your life. That was one of the reasons why I really had to step away from social media. It really fucks with your head, family. And I was getting so angry with myself that I was like, I do not think like this. What is happening to my brain? And then I found myself so consumed in it. I was like, nope, I'm absolutely not doing this anymore, because I know I'm better than that. And I am going to get on here and be in this low vibrational energy. I worked really hard to get where I'm at right now, and I feel like I'm right at the cusp of greatness. I still got a whole lot more work to do, but I'm like, I'm inching up on it, and you can't lose sight of that. And so sometimes that means you got to step back from everything and everyone and start to see things clearly, you know, depending on that intuition, that gut. Don't get out of character, especially right now with Mercury acting up and Libra season and Mars with this new cycle. For me, I am a Libra rising and I'm a Gemini. I'm ruled by Mercury, not to mention my Libra is in Mars. So for me, this is great. I will not be on social media. I like being on here way better. I'm getting so much more done. I'm so much more productive and happier. And I'm actually doing the things that I want. Homeschooling my son. I'm still finding the strength and faith in that. But I still feel better about my choice to do that. So anyways, I could blabber on for days about this because I really am genuinely happy. But family, I hope that this information is helpful, that you're getting something from it. Please, please, please leave your comments below. Let me know how you're feeling, where you're at. If you want to join the Life Path Workshop, it's not too late. It starts October 1st. If you just want coaching, which is the same thing, you could do the same thing with the Life Path Workshop, is helping you structure and strategize your business plan, especially if you're interested in a lot of those other services I was referring to and not going to school, unless you have to, okay? To be honest, everybody's in a field that you might have to use the education system, which is fine too. But if you want some Black owned businesses as services for specific things, I may be able to help you on that. And I'm trying to think, what else do I have going on? I think that's it right off the tippity top of my head. I will start selling wine again. I kind of stopped for Virgo season. And I haven't really quite thought more about how I want to move forward with it. But if you're interested in getting some organic wine, or if you have an event and you would like to use my wine for your event, you can check out the website. That's awayoflife.net, and life is spelled Lyfe, and check out the wine club for all our wine selections. And if you have any questions about those, you can give me a call or email me, whichever is better, and let me know. And yeah, family, I hope again that you found this information helpful. Have a great week. Peace.